beef cattle, horses, harness exhibits, goats, sheep and domestic animals as well, all out into the arena. So if I could ask you all throughout the afternoon, it is the one time that we do not ask for a round of applause. And as we're about to get underway, it gives me great pleasure and a privilege to welcome back to the broadcast box in 2025, Councillor Stuart Davies from out there at Camden. Councillor Davies, welcome.
Hi Tim, welcome, and welcome back to you. Lovely to have your dulcet tones here, overseeing the main arena here at NG Stadium again for 2025. And look, what the weather, we've got great crowds, and the spectacle that we're about to see is just remarkable and so unique to Sydney Royal Easter Show. So there's going to be, as you said, cattle, sheep, goats, horses, harness horses, and to your point, they're in a very strange environment. So yes, just sit there and enjoy the next few minutes.
We invite our ringmaster, a third generation ringmaster here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Mr. James Angus. He'll make his way out into the arena. The president of the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales will be up there in the Vincent Fairfax stand. It is a great pleasure to welcome a gentleman who has dedicated his life to the Sydney Royal Easter Show, Mr. John Bennett, to receive the official salute and which will commence the 2025 Sydney Royal Easter Show. A great honour and steeped in history. The ringmaster and Mr. James Angus, who has been here for many years as a steward initially, a councillor, and now ringmaster, which now means we officially open the 2025 Sydney Royal Easter Show. And Jake Smith, there are some very special gentlemen that are out in the arena at the moment on their horses, our green coats this year, and great to welcome them back here in 2025.
Yeah, it certainly is, Tim, of course, led by Mr. Cliff Parker, our head greencoat. He's assisted by Mr. Stephen Wells, Mr. Stephen Myhill, Mr. Ben Collette, Mr. Tom Steger, and Mr. Scott Jones-Ryan, and Mr. Mike Rowland.
We can see our camp drafters leading us out here into the arena, our 2024 leader sitting out there at the moment, leading them into the ring. And White Young won here last night, a 91.5 was the score in our camp draft. And are we going to see a higher score than that? 5 more nights still to come. And the Australian stock horses following on, of course, Jake, the breed for every need.
Certainly are, Tim, and some championship results that have been presented so far at this year's show. The champion Australian Stockhorse Stallion or Colt was won by Mrs. Jackie Long. The champion Australian Stockhorse Mare or Filly was won by the Pritchard nominees with Shady Jubilation. And the best Australian Stockhorse gelding was awarded to Russell Quirk from Tamworth.
Well, we welcome out our packers down here in front of the Sutter and members stand, and our packers this year's Grand Parade are from the Storybrooke and Surrey Alliance, and they are on display currently in the Jamison Station and will be part of the competition next week. And they're being led by children from the Parked Christian School and Dr. Mark Shembry, the Vice President of the Royal Agricultural Society of New South Wales, and children and kids from the New South Wales Australian Alpaca Association. And great to see our alpacas. And I think it's the Santa Gratuitous.
Gertrudis.
Gertrudis?
You had me second-guessing myself. You were. Yeah, Santa Gertrudis, they're the big red cattle you can see coming in now. They're actually our feature breed in beef cattle this year. We've judged them today. As you can see, those beautiful ribbons around some of the cattle that are making their way onto NG Stadium. The bull you can see leading in, he is the best exhibit for this year's show, exhibited by Mr. Brett Hatton. They've come all the way from Mernda up in Queensland, so they've travelled a long way, but certainly was well worth the effort. And a little fun fact for you.
I love a fun fact.
The heaviest bull at this year's Sydney show is 1,020 kilograms.
That's
over a tonne.
That's a lot of steak.
It's a hell of a lot of steak.
I'm going to come back to you on the cattle there. Jake Smith, we've got pigs here in the Grand Parade.
Yes, pigs in the Grand Parade, and this year we have the Gumshire Ann from Gumshire Pork in South Australia, and River Glen Brock from Brisbane Waters Secondary College at Yamina Beach.
Stu, with all the different breeds, we see the Limousin right here in front of us in the Sydney show stand, the lovely Limousin. Can you tell us a little bit about the different breeds and what they're, something like a limo over the Santas, and why someone would breed a limo over a different breed?
So the beef cattle breeds in Australia all mostly serve for different purposes, but the aim is the commercial purpose, the market, the meat market, to put it very bluntly. So the Limousins going past us just here now, they're a European breed. They do very, very well in what we call carcass competition. So they yield well, and we get a lot of meat from those Limousins. What's also following behind the Limos are some of our other European breeds, and the Santa Gertrudis, they're more used to a hotter climate. So you see the Santa Gertrudis typically more so up in Queensland, into the Territory, where it's hotter. They're tick resistant, they deal with the heat well. And as you can see, there's plenty of size about them. So they can put a lot of size into other cattle that they're crossbreeding with. You can see the Murray Greys coming across in front of the announcer stand at the moment. Again, another well-established European breed, and they're followed by the Shorthorns. Now, boys and girls, you'll see a few of these cattle. They're getting a little bit excited. They've been, some of them, pretty well locked up for the day, so they're getting out and feeling a bit frisky. So please, again, as Tim said earlier, just keep your applause, keep your cheers down, and
We've also got our sheep here this year in the Grand Parade, and the sheep in today's Grand Parade are the commercial Weathers from Yarol Babbage at Emu Swamp just outside of Orange, and they are here to demonstrate how sheep are shorn during the show. There will be 75 demonstrations that will take place in the Cox Pavilion Sheep Shed. Now, Supreme Junior Merino this year was won by Maryville Burrawa. Grand champions by category, we have Ultra Fine Wool Merino champion, Conrayan Merino stud. The Fine Wool Merino ram was awarded to Ali Merino and Pole Merino stud, and the Fine Wool Merino ewe, Maryville Burrawa.
Well, we see our beautiful young women around in that Belgany Farm magnificent dray, and Mr. Davies, I have to make an apology to the Governor-General of New South Wales, because Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beasley took the salute for the official opening of the Grand Parade. So, Her Excellency, sorry, I made a mistake there. That's all right.
That's okay. You know what? If there's anyone that is going to be forgiving of you, Tim, it is Her Excellency.
I have met her before, and she is a delightful young lady. Our young women, I had the joy of meeting each and every one of them here yesterday, and I am so pleased that I am not one of the judges, because we have 15 amazing young women that are competing in the Young Women competition for 2025.
And they're 15 out of what started approximately 1,000 young women across New South Wales. So they're amazing young women. They're so talented, so driven, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to have them not only here at the Grand Parade, but competing at this year's Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Yeah, they most certainly are, and we thank all of them for making their time to come down, and to all the judges and coordinators, and of course a big thank you to the Land, who sponsor that competition as well. And Stu, we are so lucky to have so many wonderful supporters, and what I didn't realise is how big a volunteer organisation the Ag Show movement is around the New South Wales and around Australia, and culminating here. All of our stewards and all of our councillors volunteer their time to be part of this magnificent event that we call the Easter Show.
It's a huge volunteer base, Tim, and you're right. Everyone here, we volunteer. We do it because we love it. We love the Ag Show movement. We love agriculture in general, and to see a spectacle like this that's in front of us.
Well,
Makes it all worthwhile.
if you have got a camera out, get ready, because in a minute we'll blow a whistle. We're going to halt the parade. It's an opportunity for you to be able to take a photo. As we said earlier today, it was 1907 this tradition started, because they had a box brownie camera positioned up in the old members stand. They wanted to get a photo to be able to not have it blurred. We had it...
So everything had to be still.
So we've halted. We'll hold. Someone in the Kubota tractor didn't get the message.
Neither did a few of those cattle in front of us, but anyway.
What do they say? Never work with children or with
animals. Yeah, indeed.
Unfortunately for them here, they've got to work with both.
They certainly do. So we had our young auctioneers and steer competition yesterday afternoon, and the top price steer made $20 a kilo.
$20 a kilo.
440 kilos, so by my reckoning about $8,800.
And where does that money go to, Mr. Davies?
That money actually goes to the exhibitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that money goes to the exhibitor. I'm not sure who bought it, but we also have a sale every year of the Victor Chang charity steer. And this year, in line with the fact that the Santa Gertrudis were our feature breed, it was a Santa Gertrudis steer, and that was bought for $18,000, and that money all goes to the Victor Chang Cardiac Research Centre, and they've been wonderful supporters and great benefactors of an incredible piece of history. We auction a prepared steer every single year, and the money goes to them, so a wonderful, wonderful cause.
Jake Smith, I just see down here in the arena we've got some magnificent domestic animals out here. Some beautiful, are they border collies?
Hungarian Vizsla, I think is how you pronounce their name, in the wide-haired Hungarian Vizsla dogs. They are our domestics. They are a medium-sized gun dog and a loyal companion. The Hungarian Vizslas hail from Hungary and were traditionally bred as hunting dogs to hunt, point and retrieve, including in water. They are well lively, gentle-mannered, sensitive, affectionate, quirky, from close bonds with their humans. Sounds like you, Tim, and Stu.
Okay, well, shots fired across the bow here.
Indeed.
Lucky I've got the roulettes coming up later this afternoon as part of our official opening. We can see some of our harness horses coming out onto the track now as well. It is just such a spectacle. As the cattle move out, Stu, we one chance to have our cattle out here in our Grand Parade, and our stud beef cattle, because they're here. Of course, you've got the Horden and Ergart trophies coming up in a couple of days' time.
Part of our interbreed Tim on Monday, so we're judging. We've judged all day today. There's judging going on now, red poles. We've got full day of judging tomorrow, and then we put the best of the best up against each other for our interbreed championships on Monday.
So if people are sitting here in the grandstand, they want to come down and have a little closer look at whether it's the Speckled Park or the Scimitars or our Santa Gertrudis as our feature breed this year, they can come down and walk through the sheds, meet the exhibitors and chat to them and
absolutely
find out where they're from.
Totally, yes. So we've got all the cattle pavilions down behind us. Go down, have a chat. They'd be more than happy to tell you all about their breed and why they're involved and what they're doing. And yeah, it will leave you with a little bit more knowledge than you arrive with.
Jake, I can see out there a couple of people wearing different ribbons. I can even see a couple wearing Kersey rugs. What's the significance of the ribbons and then also the rugs on some of our equestrian exhibits?
The rugs have been awarded to supreme champions of their classes, so they've already been a champion to be awarded the supreme champion. And our broad sashes, of course, that represents champion. I think it's blue, red and white for champion, and our reserve champion sash as well.
It's a very special, momentous occasion, whether you're in the stud beef cattle or whether you're like our Vice President, Dr. Shembri, baking a cake. I believe he won a fruit cake this year. You get a ribbon and a certificate, and the significance, whether you're in the flower section, the horse section or the cattle section, to be commended and to be awarded at the Easter Show, the Royal Easter Show. There's a certain level of I suppose, prestige, Councillor Davies.
Look, prestige, but also, and you know, you talk about the horses and the cattle, there's all that commercial value as well, Tim. So a broad ribbon at Sydney Show, which is the pinnacle of showing in Australia for most of these people, can add significant commercial value to their farming business operations.
We see all our wood choppers have just left the arena. Great to have our wood choppers out here again this year. They call it the Wimbledon of wood chopping over there. It is the World Championship. We have international competitors, and I think there's a wood chop every 7 minutes throughout the day. And so if you want to see the action, doesn't matter whether you're watching a heat or a final, they put it all on the line. And the wood chopping, just another part of the show experience.
It's something that people come to the show and specifically want to see. The wood chop, it's just amazing, action-packed. You know, you've got timber flying everywhere, people with axes that you could shave with. You know, it's phenomenal. But just looking at the cattle coming past me, these Santa Gertrudis here, you know, we've got 1,280 head of cattle, beef cattle that is, on the showground at the moment.
1,280, and you said the heaviest one was over 1,000 kilos.
Yes.
So probably averaging about 700-800 kilos a beast. And
well, bull-wise, yes.
Yeah, do the numbers. There's a lot of lucky it's all on ground and not slab on ground construction down there.
Indeed. But we thank all the exhibitors for their hard work, and you know, a lot of these guys have been judged today. They've had a long day, a hot day. And to come out here and put on this spectacle for our crowd, we couldn't be more grateful.
It's interesting, you see, Stu, a feature breed, and I know over the years we've had Hereford. In fact, when it was the Hereford, they made a feature of the Harbour Bridge here in part of the Grand Parade when in 1932, when we opened the Sydney Harbour Bridge. This year, how do you choose your feature breed each year?
So, breed societies will come to us and nominate. And look, we tried to do it obviously fairly and impartially. So a larger breed could probably expect to be a feature breed here at Sydney, probably on average every 7 to 8 years.
And then they support, and obviously that you'll get in heightened or in large numbers of that breed, because if it's a feature breed year, you want to be part of it.
Absolutely. So this year with Santa Gertrudis, we had over 140 entries. We've had cattle from right up in the heart of central Queensland. We've had Santa Gertrudis come from the Riverlands district in South Australia and everywhere in between. So for a breed society, they'll know typically 2 to 3 years in advance of when they're going to be the feature breed, and the work starts there to corral everyone and get the spectacle here that you're seeing in front of you.
We see some of our heavy horses coming out. We can see the Belgium draft horses with a very modern vehicle out in front on the big screen at the moment, Carberry Estate. If you then come back to the distillery, the Misty Mountain distillery vehicle, the one behind them, that's the Southern Cross team from Yass, and the Joy and Avalation. Do you know those two horses? One is 16 and one is 21 years of age. They're two Shires, and that lovely exhibit won a lovely championship here this morning and just before lunch, and to talk to the connections of that lovely vehicle, those two beautiful horses, was certainly a joy to see and to be out of part of that story for those lovely heavy horses. And it's great to have our heavy harness early on in the show this year and out here competing. I was talking to our judge, Terry Goodear, and he was just saying he can't believe not only the numbers that we've got, the quantity in our heavy harness, but also the quality. And he was judging a turnout class, and he said there was 12 exhibits in it, and it came down to there was less than 2.5 points between first and fourth.
It's amazing, isn't it?
And out of 100, that's how they were scoring every part of that. Out of 100, and 2.5 points the difference between first and fourth to win that turnout class. So an absolute credit to the RAS and to all of the connections that put on a competition that so many people want to aspire and be at the absolute utmost or highest level of their competition.
Can I just point out, and I think they're making their way just now around, just in front of the Sutter stand. See those big hairy cows, boys and girls, with the long horns? They're called Highland cattle. Naturally, they are from the Highlands in Scotland. And that bull with the extra long horns, you can see, the second one, he won the champion what we call any other breed. So we've got a judging for the smaller breeds that don't have the scale and the numbers. And he won the champion bull of this year's Sydney Royal Easter Show for the any other breeds.
I've seen a huge uptake, and I think actually Airbnb's got a bit to do with it, because people are buying a couple of Highland cattle, putting them in the paddock, and then people come and have a farm stay experience, and they're a lovely looking animal, and they've got a beautiful nature, and great to see.
They do, and I only found out yesterday that they're quite resilient in hotter conditions. So you see them, you think they're all long and hairy and shaggy, but they don't actually mind a bit of heat.
I just saw on the screen a moment ago the speckled park, and I was out on a bike ride the other week. We rode from Dubbo to Leeton, raising money for two amazing charities, but I came past two very big speckled park studs out there. I'd love to tell you where I was, but
I reckon you were at Yeovil.
I was.
There you go.
And I was coming out of Yeovil.
Yep, so
on the right-hand side as we headed towards Forbes.
JAD Speckled Parks, arguably one of the most forward commercial speckled park breeders in the country.
And I've seen them at the show, but to see a full paddock full, it was actually quite a sight. And we're riding along on the bike, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at those!" And I could tell them. I sounded so knowledgeable. I said, "Oh, they're speckled park," and then, look at me. I'm suddenly a country kid.
Well,
all cool.
But you are. And did they quiz you on your knowledge of speckled park?
They did start to ask, and I answered the question. I won't say it on a microphone because I probably got it wrong. But if you say anything with confidence, Mr. Davies, people believe you.
Indeed, they do.
Like today.
All in the delivery.
It's Sunday today. Beautiful day on Sunday.
I wouldn't know what day of the week it was at the moment, Tim.
You were in the show bubble. It is wonderful to see. Jake, we've got still many of our horses. Of course, it's early days for our competitors, but we've seen the lovely Clydesdales here out on the screen at the moment, in hand, being shown on hand and also in harness. And of course, Clydesdales, the Shires, all of our heavy horses, and those beautiful big animals are just gentle giants.
They certainly are, Tim, and of course we'll have more judging here tomorrow with our harness classes, that being for our light and heavy harnesses. And then of course our classes will conclude for those heavy horses, and we move more into our ridden classes, our answers, our hacks, and our pony judging will commence here on around, I think it's about Monday or Tuesday.
Do you know there's a rule here at the Easter Show? There's no need, you can come of all 12 days if you want.
Correct.
You're not allowed to just come one. In fact, if you come one, you might as well come at least 2 or 3, or if you like Stuart, you're here for 12.
12 days.
It's wonderful to see. Of course, our stock horses have been absolutely amazing, and to see some of the results of our stock horses. And just before we went to the Grand Parade to see Reg Ryan's nomination of Cooley Downs Houdini win that champion-ridden Australian stock horse, the young lady, Jake, getting a little emotional. It was all just a little overwhelming.
Means a lot, doesn't it? See for championship.
And we talk about it all the time, but you just can't beat the thrill and the emotion of winning a ribbon at the Easter Show.
But for some people, this is years and years and years in the making. So you can understand where the emotion really comes to the surface, because there's families that have been doing this for years, maybe generations, and this is the pinnacle of what they've achieved. It's wonderful to see.
Intergenerational. I was sitting having a glass of Tyrrell's wine last night with Mr. Jeff Bush, and they've had their Hereford stud down at Cootamundra, 74 years of showing here at the Sydney Royal Easter Show.
Yeah, Glenholme and Kirrawina. And actually it was fabulous to see Jeff and Heather's eldest son Sam made his Sydney Royal judging debut yesterday in the beef cattle, and did a wonderful job.
And the tradition that goes, we've got stock horse competitors that have been here for generations, 3 generations of the Rag and Proctor family, all competing at the same show in the same year. So Wendy, and then Amanda, and now their lovely daughter, whose name's just escaped me as I started. But 3 generations competing at the same show at the same time.
And I think the interesting part to that, Tim, is, and what a lot of the people watching the Grand Parade won't understand, is it's not just a matter of making the decision, I'm going to go and show my horse at Sydney Show this year. There's qualification. You've got to win so many ribbons, get so many points before you can then nominate yourself. It's not just like, I think we'll turn up
So we were looking, the qualifications for the show horses all closed in October last year. So you had to have your performances locked in by October. So anything you've done between October and now April in 2025, that's counting to next year's Royal, and that's getting you match fit. But all those performances were collected in the 12 months previous, October 23 to October 24. So you're already, 18 months out, you're starting to campaign that horse to get enough performances to allow it then to step forward and be here competing.
And a lot of show and, out in the bush, a lot of miles.
Yeah.
Just down the road's 100 kilometres, but, you'll get families, and the camp drafters are a great example of it. They'll drive 3 and 4, 5 hours to get to a draft.
So we had a competitor here who got a 5th ribbon today in our Shetland pony turnout class. So in a buggy class, they came from an hour south of Fremantle. So I did a quick look up on Google. It was 41 hours if I went the most direct route to get to the show.
Well, we've got some people, and they're great supporters of us. They've got Charolais cattle. They've got a stud called Ventura, and they come from a very similar region, and they have brought a full team of cattle over here. So, lots of stops, lots of water, walks, exercise, back on the truck, keep going. And again, a very similar time frame, nearly 2 full days to get from Western Australia to...
That's just driving, and then you put stops in, it's a week. They tend to get across the Nullarbor with animals. That's what they all say. You give yourself 5 days. And it's interesting, they say, animals like humans get a bit of jet lag. So you either time it to get here just in time because the jet lag's a bit delayed, or you get over here about 5 weeks before, allow them to come off that and then re-go back up through and be part of the system.
Yeah, very much so. And I saw their big bull actually the other day. We scanned them. We used like an ultrasound machine. So if anyone's familiar with medical machinery, we used an ultrasound machine to scan 2 points on the beast, looking for the fat depth over the rib and the rump, and the eye muscle area. And we had the eye muscle area of one of the bulls was 160 centimetres. And that bull, who'd travelled from Western Australia, I saw him day and a half after he'd arrived, and he looked as fresh and as sprightly as you could expect. I wouldn't have looked anywhere near that good.
Unbelievable. Well, as the last of our stock horses make their way out of the arena, ladies and gentlemen, it has been an absolute pleasure to present the Grand Parade, and I do believe as those last horses make out, we could now ask you to please put your hands together, the coordination, give them a round of applause, our ringmaster, Mr. James Angus, our green coats, Cliff Parker, Stephen Wells, Stephen Myhill, Scott Jones-Ryan, Tom Steiger, Ben Collette, Mike Rowland, as our green coats, of course, our chief green coat, Mr. Cliff Parker, riding Banks. What an amazing afternoon. And once again, apologies to Her Excellency in the miscommunication over who was taking the salute. But we're going to see them out here in the official opening. So this is the prelude to now the official opening, where we can officially say that the show is open for 2025.
Indeed it is. I'm very fortunate that I'll be dining with Her Excellency this evening, and I will make sure that I pass on your sincere apologies for your faux pas.
Stu Davies, thank you so much for being up here in the broadcast box as part of our expertise. Hope you can join us for our Grand Parade in a couple of days' time.
Looking forward to it, Tim. Thanks very much. Jake, thank you to you as well. And to everyone out there tonight, have a fantastic afternoon and evening here at Sydney Show.
We're going to take a very short break. We'll be coming up with the official opening in just a couple of minutes' time.